Here's a cool map that shows the various paths of hurricanes in both the northern and southern hemisphere. Some things to note is in the northern hemisphere, all of the hurricanes deflect to the right, Coriolis effect. When we look at the southern hemisphere, they all, for the most part, deflect to the left. Another thing you'll note is that red line indicates the equator. And so you never, ever, ever see a hurricane crossing the equator. And this goes back to, once again, when I talked about the doldrums, converging air. You're not going to get air, in this case hurricanes, to be able to scoot through the equatorial low pressure trough because of that convergence. And we can see the hurricane paths in the northern hemisphere, they curve to the right, but we have a specific period, June to November. And this makes sense. Once again, water takes longer to heat up, but also takes longer to cool down. And so actually the waters in our beaches there in Florida and Texas are actually their warmest in September, in October. And so you can note this actually if you go to the beach for spring break, you notice the water's kind of cold. But if you go to the beach during fall break, it's actually going to be warmer there in September and October. And key to understanding that, like I said, is land-water heating differences. Of course, everything is the opposite in the southern hemisphere. And so when we think about these hurricanes that hit the southeast United States and the Caribbean, what happens is they come off of the July intertropical convergence. So they come off of that equatorial low pressure trough. Once the hurricanes move through the subtropical high pressure, they then get carried by the mid-latitudes and the westerlies that then causes that even more of a right-hand bend. And so oftentimes we can see hurricanes coming through the Gulf and the Atlantic and hitting the southeast United States, but oftentimes they come up and then eventually the westerlies carry them up towards the northeast coast of the United States to New England and then eventually carries them back out to the North Atlantic.